Dr. Kim Anderson, our crop marketing specialist, is here now. Kim, the holidays are behind us, so there are some questions about how the markets are looking in terms of prices and then things that are impacting those prices. Let's start with wheat this week.
Well, I think prices are starting to settle down a little bit. We had some sales at the beginning of the year. There'll be a few more coming in that might impact the prices. You look at wheat, you go back to late November, early December, $6.08. Got down to $5.65. We're still getting those 12 and 14 cent price moves up and down. Wheat prices around $5.75 now. You can forward contract for $5.80 in northern Oklahoma. About 30 cents less than that in southern Oklahoma. Maybe a dime or so higher if you go out to the Panhandle. If you look at what's going to impact those prices, our next harvest coming up in the world will be India, Pakistan, North Africa, but none of those countries exports. The good news is that the U.S. winter wheat crop is the next crop to hit the export. So the market's going to watch that crop. They're going to look at the planted acres and they're going to look at crop conditions.
Let's talk about corn now. What are you keeping an eye on?
Well, looking at corn prices, we had that downtrend just like we had in wheat. Looks like they bottomed out somewhere around $4.40, up to around $4.45. We're going to have to see what happens in that. You can look at the forward contract for corn for 24 delivery around $4.70. That's close to that average price for the corn harvest time period. But the market's going to watch what's going on in South America. You look at the United States, we have about 26% of the world's corn export market. Brazil has 27%, Argentina 20%. So Argentina and Brazil's got 47 to 48% of that export market. Have winter harvest for the corn, and so the market's going to watch what's happening there. Ukraine still has a little over 10% of the export corn market, and so we'll be watching that too.
And then what are you looking at in terms of soybeans?
Well, soybeans, we talked about that last week. We just had the poster child went to a downtrend. It looks like they bottomed out somewhere around $11.91. They came down from a little over 13 there. But again, we're watching South America. Brazil just started their soybean harvest. The United States export about 28% of the world's soybeans. Brazil, 58%. And China imports 61% of all those exported beans. So what's controlling price? We're watching Brazil's harvest and watching what China does. Do they buy from us or do they buy from Brazil? You forward contract for 24 delivery, somewhere around $11.35.
We talked about top dressing winter wheat earlier in the show. What are you advising people in terms of fertilizer prices this year?
Well, I've got some just average fertilizer prices. You look at DAP 1820. This time last year around $900, just below that. They're down to around $680 a ton right now. You got urea 4600. It was up around $750 last year. Now down around $530 to $540 a ton. And you look at potash, it's came down from about $750 somewhere in there down to around $500. So I think these are prices that producers can use when they're budgeting things out. Of course, their local suppliers going to have slightly different prices than these. The good news, we've seen prices for fertilizers come down from somewhere to 20 to 30% from last year, and that's good news.
That is very good news. Kim, thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.